Okay, this is what we're gonna use for my honey sriracha chicken. I have complete seasoning, parsley, honey, sriracha sauce, garlic powder, and you can use seasoning salt. That's my own blend, but you can use Lawry seasoning salt. We're gonna go ahead, get going with seasoning the chicken. I'm adding the complete seasoning right now. It's all the complete seasoning. Then I'm gonna come over top with some garlic. Just sprinkle some garlic on there. And once we add the garlic, we're gonna add the seasoning salt. Like I said, you can use Lawry's. Just sprinkle some of that over. And then the sriracha sauce, I would say that this is about 3 tablespoonfuls for this amount of chicken. I just have 4 leg quarters here. So I would say this is 2 to 3 tablespoons. But if you put too much, it's gonna definitely have a kick. So you can taste it as you go. Then I'm gonna add my honey over there. I'm using my hand, so I'm kind of out of focus, but it was like 3 nice squeezes of honey all over the chicken. So once we get everything added, we're gonna go ahead and mix everything up. I'm getting all in the nooks and crannies, mix it very, very good. Rubbing all of that powdered seasoning with the wet seasoning, making sure that it's on every part of the chicken. Just totally mixing it up. And then when I set it to marinate, I'm gonna let it marinate for an hour. I'm gonna flip it right side, like skin side down, I guess you would say. No, that's just me. That's my preference. I like for it, since the skin, the seasoning doesn't penetrate through, I like to flip it skin side down and just let that seasoning soak inside there. Okay, my chicken has marinated for an hour and 15 minutes actually. So I add my onions and peppers to my pan, and people put it on the top. It's neither here nor there, but because there's no skin on the bottom, I just prefer to do that. I lay it with the skin side up so that my part that doesn't have skin is touching those onions and bell peppers. So I'm gonna place these in the pan, just so all 4 of them fit in there. And then we're gonna get those into the oven. Okay, now that all 4 have been placed in the pan, I'm gonna put a lid on her. Or actually, the seasoning that I have left over in that bowl, I hate to waste seasoning, but the seasoning that I have left over in that bowl, what I'm gonna do is put that seasoning on there and just kind of rub it in, no particular way. No science to this, just grab whatever left in there and spread it over the chicken. And then I just put a lid on it and I put it in the oven. My oven was already preheated to 350, so actually I added a little bit of water because I had leftover rice from yesterday. So I want to use a little bit of this sauce in that leftover rice. So I've just added a little bit more water so that I can take some of that broth from that and add to my rice. I don't have to cook any rice today. Now we're going to go ahead and start on the corn, tomatoes, and sausage. We have okras also. So I just used 2 cans of corn and 1 can of diced tomatoes. I'm adding, this is salt pork. Go ahead and add that in, and then I'm gonna get her to frying. What we're gonna do is brown those. You'll see what we're gonna do at the end. This is just the beginning right here. So once we get those nice and brown, we're gonna crush them up. I usually take my wooden spoon and just crush them up, and I let them sit until about another 3 minutes is left on my completed corn, tomatoes, and stuff. But you'll see what I'm gonna do with it. But those are just frying, and then we're gonna flip them over. We're gonna get them nice and brown on both sides. Get those flipped. Okay, now they are about done. So I'm gonna take them out. See my little bowl over there? I'm just gonna let them rest in the bowl. Cause like I said, they're gonna go in towards the end. You'll see once I get everything combined, when it's almost done, I just grab those in that. For some reason with the salt pork, I like for it to be a little crisp, at least that first time when I eat it. And then if it's left over, I know it's gonna be soft. But right now I'm adding my sausage, and I'm just gonna let those brown. And just scramble them up in the pan. I'm using the same grease that I had from the bacon. Bacon kind of makes its own grease. I did add a little tiny bit of oil to it, but that salt pork makes its own grease. So once I have that browned, I'm gonna add my onions to it, saute those down a little bit. But first, let me check my chicken, see how that's coming along, because remember, I had it covered the entire time it was in the oven. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add a little bit of parsley, and I'm gonna stick them back in the oven. And in about 15 minutes, they've been going now for about 45 minutes. So in about 15 minutes, I'm gonna baste it, and then in another 15 they should be ready to come out of the oven. So this cook time for this chicken is about an hour and 15 minutes at 350. But according to how your stove cook, it may take a little shorter or a little longer. But for some reason, like I explained in other videos, my stove kind of cooked kind of fast. But here I am, I'm just taking that juice out and adding it to my bowl of rice that I had left over, and I'm gonna warm that up, so I won't be cooking any rice today. So now this is where the parsley comes in. I just put a little bit on there, and I'm gonna put her back in the oven uncovered though. This time it's gonna be uncovered so it can get a little color to it. But for the most part, the chicken is most of the way done. I'm just putting it in for color. Now I'm gonna go to my bacon. The bacon what I had sitting on the side, I went ahead, crumbled that up with the back of the spoon, front of the spoon, whatever you want to do. But I crumbled that up. I've already incorporated the tomatoes and the corn in there. I just poured them in there once the sausage was done. Then I add a little bit of seasoning salt. I guess use Lowry seasoning salt. I add a little of that, and then I add some thyme. I always keep these handy, but I usually keep a bottle of thyme. I don't know, I'm out of time right now besides these little packs, but I'm just adding some thyme to it. I would say about a half a teaspoonful. Okay, now once we add that thyme, I'm just gonna stir her a bit, and we're gonna put that bacon in there though. Okay, that's the okra. We're gonna drop that in there. So I'm just stirring it up. I don't like for my okras to like get slimy, so I put it in like right towards the end, but I just love the flavor that the okra gives the food. Now I just added the bacon in there. So once that bacon is added, we're gonna go ahead and cover it back up for another 2 to 3 minutes. And the cook time on that was total about 12 minutes, not even. That's with the searing of the sausage, maybe 15 minutes. Now I'm just checking my chicken here, and I'm adding a little bit of that juice from the bottom, just basting. I wanted to have a nice color when it's done. Okay, now we have everything finished. The sausage, corn, tomatoes, okra is in this pot. We have our chicken. It's done. See the nice color on that? Little onions and bell peppers at the bottom, but I prefer them down there. Always have. And then I have the rice. What I was telling you guys that I took the broth from that chicken. I have that here, and I already warmed that up. I threw that in the microwave, warmed it up. At times I cook my rice in the microwave also. My sister taught me that little trick. But this is the end result. Thanks for watching, guys.